At Lovells, we're ambassadors for many different brands, and one of them is the Kaymar rear wheel carrier, now owned and distributed by the Auto Pacifica Group. On my own car, we're putting a demonstrator on, also to get ready for the big red bash. When you, of course, put your wheels on there, it frees up space underneath, so a Brown Davis long-range tank will be going in as well. It's perfect for the long distance off-road touring, and hopefully we'll get to go across the Simpson in it pretty soon as well and get some videos from that. So over to Nate, he's going to make the magic happen.
Here we are with our product. So this is a 180 litre Brown Davis long range fuel tank. We've just unboxed it and opened up all the brackets and everything else in the kit to make sure everything's all there before we start. Behind me is the boss's car. So we're gonna get stuck into this vehicle. I'll get up in the air, rip everything out we don't need, then we'll start showing you a time lapse of everything going back in and getting it set up ready for the big red bash. So where this long range tank actually sits in the vehicle, spare wheel doesn't fit anymore. So above the spare wheel on these 200s is an auxiliary tank in them. It only holds 45 litres, so it is quite small. I'll show you once that's out of the vehicle. But compared to a spare wheel and a 45 litre fuel tank, you're now getting a 180 litre fuel tank. Because the spare wheel won't fit once this is in, there goes the Kaymar rear bar. So this rear bar is going to go on, and we're going to have the twin wheel carrier on the back of it. Spare wheel, that's going to come out, and the actual brackets for the spare wheel carrier, that comes out too. And that allows us access into that fuel tank. So once all this is out, we can then get started. I will also be dropping the rear section of this exhaust. It just gives you more room and makes it a lot more accessible to get your fuel tank up and in, and then you slide it back in and put it back in the same position. Rear bar, that has to come off. Now, because we're doing the Kaymar rear bar as well, it is a bar cut. So we'll have to do a bar cut, relocate all these park sensors. So I'm going to be doing a combination of the two at the same time. So while all the spare wheel and the fuel tank's out, it's easy to get the brackets in for the rear bar. So I'm going to do the two at the same time, rather than doing the fuel tank and then doing the Kaymar rear bar. So once it's all stripped out completely, I'll then start putting all the brackets in and getting this ready for reinstallation. This is above the spare wheel, so that's the fuel tank itself just there. That's the auxiliary one, so it's a 45 litre fuel tank, and it's quite small. It does work, it does give you an extra 45 litres, however, when you're doing your long range touring and travelling, it's just not sufficient. Here we are, the Brown Davis. So that one's now in. All this fits quite neatly. As soon as this tank's gone in, that brings us into the Kaymar rear bar. So there's the spare wheels now. So the boss, he's opted for 2 spare wheels. So he's about to go on a trip up through the Birdsville, up to the big red bash in this car. So he has opted for 2 spare wheels just for the trip. So the 2 spare wheels sit on the back of it, quite neat and nice with the Kaymar rear bar. License plates for these. So with the twin wheel carriers, license plates normally sits on the boot in these vehicles. You put spare wheels on it, you can't see it. So government requirements, you have to have this visible. So the Kaymar, they have these brackets, pulls your number plate out to the back of it, sits on top of your spare wheel carrier. So if you do need to change a spare wheel, the 3 bolts and that bracket comes off, and we'll put it on a quick easy clip, that way for the wiring for the light. So we can easily disconnect this, take that off if we need to change a spare wheel. On the back, we've also got a reverse light. So we've put this on a 3-way switch, so it automatically come on in reverse, or if you're at camp, you can manually turn that on or off, just for your lighting requirements. It's on a telescopic pole, so for camping, that can go up, and you can twist it to whatever angle you need for your, to light up whatever area you're camping in. These are really easy to operate. So at the bottom of these, they've just got just one clip, and they swing away. So on gas struts to help you move them out of the way, and then just a bit of wiring in the back of it, just for the lights and for the reverse camera. So the reverse camera itself is also mounted in the boot, up in the upper tailgate, but with the wheels in the way, you're not going to see anything. So the Kaymar bar, it comes with a bracket and some wiring for relocation. That way the factory reverse camera, it's still usable, and it comes up in through the factory dash. So that's all factory, it's all plug and play, and it's really easy and simple to do. On these gas struts, they do have a little lockout mechanism. So you can fold that forward, and that's just going to lock on the gas strut. So you can't shut it on itself. So if the wind catches it, it's not going to slam it shut into the boots. And then you just push it straight back, and then that will then allow you to shut it. They also do have this option here, because these, the Saharas, they've got the automatic tailgates with the push of the button. So you can open these up on the dash. So they do put these rubber pads on the back of these. So if the door does actually get opened, it's just going to rest up on the rubber and not actually damage any of the boot and the tailgates. So it is quite a neat system. It's all plug and play, very easy to install, and looks quite neat. I quite like it, especially with the GVM on the vehicle now. This additional weight sitting on the back of it, it just helps soften the ride up a bit. All right, so that's the wrap up of the long range fuel tank and the Kaymar rear bar, the twin wheel carrier on the boss's car. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe, hit the bell notification button. We do have so much content coming out with the 300 series. That is getting engineered as we speak, so it's in the final stages for us to release that kit. So we have got so much more content coming out in the next few weeks.